Two barrels bolted to a quadcopter, firing backward and forward in the same instant. That is the strange little machine Ukraine put into the sky at the end of December. And the footage that came with it showed something no one had ever filmed before. A drone hunting another drone. And killing it. Let me set the scene properly, because the story of why this thing exists matters more than the thing itself. For most of this war, the drone that ruled the front was radio-controlled. A pilot sat in a trench or a basement with goggles on his face, thumbs on the sticks, flying a small first-person view quadcopter straight into a tank, a truck, a man. Cheap, deadly, and beatable. Because every radio-controlled drone broadcasts a signal, and where there is a signal, there is a way to drown it out. Both armies poured money into electronic jamming. Backpack jammers, vehicle jammers, whole zones of the front turned into invisible walls of noise where a radio drone simply falls out of the sky, blind and deaf. Then the cable came. Somebody looked at the jamming problem and asked a simple question. What if the drone never listened to the air at all? What if you ran a physical thread from the pilot straight to the machine? Not copper wire, but hair-thin fiber-optic glass, spooling out behind the drone as it flies, carrying crystal-clear video down and control signals up. No radio, no emissions, nothing to jam, nothing for the enemy sensors to sniff out of the sky. And here is the part that made frontline soldiers go quiet. You cannot jam glass. You can turn every jammer you own up to maximum, and the fiber-optic drone flies straight through it as if the electronic war never happened. Ukrainian troops started saying one phrase about it, flat and fatalistic. If they see you, if they target you, that's it. Russia went in hard on this. Late in 2024, they began fielding fiber drones at scale, and by the spring of 2025, they leaned on them heavily during the fighting around Kursk. Thousands of them. Ukraine answered by ramping its own production from around 600 a month toward a target of 10,000 a month. Think about that jump. A weapon that barely existed at the start of the year, becoming an industrial product churned out by the tens of thousands. But there's a wrinkle in the fiber-optic story the propaganda videos never show you, and this is the detail most channels skip right past. Ukrainian units who face these drones every day report that the Russian fiber-optic attacks fail far more often than they succeed. By some frontline accounts, roughly 19 out of 20 of them miss, snag, crash, or simply never reach the target. That thread of glass is the drone's greatest strength and its greatest weakness at the same time. Here's why. The cable weighs something. Around 1.5 kilos of spool buys you maybe 10 kilometers of range, and every meter of glass trailing behind the drone is a meter that can catch on a branch, a wire, a shattered wall, a fence. Fly through a tree line and the cable snags. The pilot loses the machine. The range is short, 10 to 20 kilometers at best, nothing like the deep strike drones. So this is not a miracle weapon. It's a knife that cuts both ways. And understanding that is the whole key to understanding what Ukraine built next. Now, we get to the barrels. On the 27th of December, a Ukrainian foundation released footage of a drone carrying a pair of gun barrels. And in the clips, that drone shoots down a quadcopter and then goes after two larger bomber drones. The first documented air-to-air drone combat. Machines fighting machines in open sky. The clever part is the recoilless design. Fire a shotgun off a small flying platform, and the kick alone would flip it, or send it tumbling. So the builders mounted two barrels back to back. One fires the shot forward at the target, the other fires a counterweight backward in the same moment, and the two recoils cancel each other out. The drone barely twitches. It stays level, stays aimed, and fires again. This is a hunter. Not a bomb carrier meant to dive into a tank, but a patrol machine built to prowl the sky and destroy other drones at close range. Think of it as an air patrol whose entire job is to find enemy fibers and reconnaissance quads and blow them apart before they reach the men on the ground. And the Russians had roughly the same idea. One of their firms tested a similar gun drone back in the summer of 2024, but as far as anyone can tell, they never fielded it properly. Ukraine put it in the sky and filmed it working. And now a question I want you to actually sit with. If both sides can now build drones that hunt drones, where does this end? Is the next war fought entirely by machines hunting each other over empty ground while men hide underground? Tell me what you think in the comments, because I genuinely go back and forth on this one. But the shotgun drone is just one layer, and the smart thing about Ukraine's approach is that they never bet everything on a single answer. At the bottom of the stack, there's the man in the trench with an actual shotgun. When an explosive drone comes screaming in low and fast, a spread of pellets is sometimes the only thing a soldier has. Even world champion clay shooters struggle to hit these things. They're that small and that quick. So armies are developing specialized counter-drone shells with longer, tighter cones of shot and deeper penetration to punch through a drone's frame and battery. Ukraine also greenlit a new rifle round in the standard small caliber, tuned specifically for knocking down FPV drones with an ordinary assault rifle, which puts a fighting chance in the hands of every infantryman instead of just the man carrying the shotgun. Then, there are the nets. Long tunnels of netting strung over supply roads for miles, so a drone that dives in gets tangled instead of hitting the truck underneath. There are anti-drone coatings and cages bolted to tanks. There are sound detectors being built to hear the buzz before you see it. And higher up the ladder, the directed energy stuff. The British trialed a radio frequency weapon that fries drone electronics with a beam. Ukraine has been experimenting with a laser system, described by those who've seen it as silent and effectively invisible, able to burn a drone out of the sky in seconds. Lasers are coming to Western navies too within a couple of years. Layer after layer, because no single trick holds for long. Now step back and look at the scale, because this is where it stops being a gadget story and becomes something historic. Between late 2023 and 2026, the two sides together are expected to burn through more than 10 million kamikaze drones. A Ukrainian general put daily frontline use at 7,000 to 9,000 drones, every single day. Cheap explosive drones now account for the vast majority of armored vehicle losses, and, by Ukrainian figures, more than 90% of the casualties they inflict, up from around 70% earlier in the year. Say that out loud. 9 out of 10. The queen on this battlefield is no longer the tank or the jet. It's a buzzing little machine that costs less than a decent used car and can end a life from kilometers away. And the reach keeps growing. Ukrainian long-range drones have struck oil tankers off Crimea, set refineries burning deep inside Russia, and cooked off ammunition dumps far behind the front. In one 96-hour window, they hit close to 40 fuel tankers. This is war fought against an economy, not just an army. If this kind of breakdown is what you come here for, you already know what to do. So here's where I'll leave you. And I want a real fight in the comments over this. The fiber-optic drone was supposed to be unstoppable, and Ukraine answered it with a flying shotgun inside of a year. So, which side actually wins this race? The ones who build the perfect weapon, or the ones who build the perfect counter? Pick a side and tell me why.